Hey, what's up, guys? This is Neka Agnes Wachiku coming to you today. Today is March the 10th, and I am doing podcast diaries number 21. Today's podcast title is called Delusional. Today's podcast diary is called Delusional. That's exactly what it's called. My title today is Delusional. Now, for those who don't know what that word means, I'm going to give you a definition of the word delusional. And I'm going to explain to you my thoughts on it, why I'm bringing it up, why it's very important to talk about stuff like this, because mental health is very serious. Myself, I deal with certain things too. I'm not perfect. I'm not sitting here like as a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I didn't even go to school for that. That's not even what I went to school for. But I am a very intelligent woman. I believe I am. I might make stupid decisions sometimes, but I think I'm very intelligent. I believe that I'm still intelligent. I still got wisdom and knowledge from, previous experiences that's caused me to understand the world a little bit more. There are some things that I still need to learn, and there are some things that I'm going to learn, and there are some things that I haven't experienced yet. And in those things, I don't per se want to experience them, and then there's some things that I do want to experience. Like, for example, I want to experience traveling the world. I would love to travel the world. That's one thing I have never experienced. I think I would be a happier person if I was able to travel a lot more. I've been in this state for years, grew up here. You know what I'm saying? And I've only traveled a few times in my life. I haven't traveled that often in my life. But needless to say, I'm going to stick to the topic. The topic today is called delusional. Now, when you Google the word delusional, the meaning of the word delusional is a delusional person believes things that couldn't possibly be true. A delusional person believes things that couldn't possibly be true. If you're convinced that the microwave, this is an example that, Google gives, people looking this word up. If you're convinced that the microwave is attempting to control your thoughts, you are sadly delusional. Delusional comes from a Latin word meaning deceiving. So delusional thinking is kind of like deceiving yourself by believing outrageous things, believing outlandish things. You guys remember when I said, I had an experience where a man told me, this was someone that I knew for years. He wasn't a random person. I've known him for a few years. I've known him since 2017. And he disclosed to me that he wouldn't mind having kids with me. But at the same time, he doesn't want to be committed to me. He doesn't want to be committed to me, but he wants me to have his kids. That is a form of delusion. To me, there's nothing worse than a delusional man. Yes, I said it. There is nothing worse than a delusional man. I mean, it's one thing for a woman to be delusional because we're very emotional beings. So it's one thing for us to be delusional. It makes more sense for us to be delusional. I cannot understand why a man could be so delusional to the point where he starts to believe his own thoughts. And I'm going to give you an example in a minute. I remember when I was with my ex, and I always use my ex as an example, sometimes because he's the first man that I was actually with for years. He's the longest relationship that I've ever been in. Put it like this. He's the only man that I've kept longer than 6 months. So you know how they say, oh, she can't keep a man? And it's like, well, like Halle Berry said, well, why would I want to keep him? He's not the right one for me. If you guys watch her interview, she said a lot of people make comments about how, oh, Halle Berry, she can't keep a man. Well, people say the same thing about me. I've had family members say the same thing about me. I've had associates say the same thing about me. Oh, she just can't keep a man. Well, why would I want to keep him? Why would I want to keep a man that's not good for me? Why would I want to be with a man that's not good for me? Like, he's not healthy for me. So, with that being said, bringing up my ex. That was the longest relationship that I've ever been in. And I remember, with him, he used to have these delusional thoughts that I was cheating on him, or I was fucking somebody else, or I was, doing some other sexual things with someone else. He also had thoughts that I was trying to set him up sometimes. Like, he's had thoughts, delusional thoughts, that I was trying to, set him up, or I'm in cahoots with a white man. First of all, in no way, shape, or form would I be in cahoots with a white man. For one, I don't even trust him myself. So if I don't trust him myself, why would I be in cahoots with them to set you up? Like, I've had him say stupid stuff like that. You trying to set me up. First of all, that's delusional. It's delusional for you to believe that your girl, your girlfriend, your wife wants to set you up. Now, I'm not saying the thought of it is delusional, but for you to keep believing that statement and you don't have no proof, I haven't done anything to harm you physically. I haven't done anything, I haven't talked about it with anyone, And I understand I might not be the friendliest person, but just because I'm not that friendly, that don't mean I want to set you up and have you killed. Why would I be in cahoots with a white man to set you up? The white man doesn't like you, and the white man doesn't like me either. So why would I want to set you up with a group of people who don't even like me and you? Why would I get into business with them and want to set you up? That makes no sense. That's delusional. So like I said, there's nothing worse than a delusional man. And to be honest with you, a lot of these, I don't know if the level of delusion increases as they age. I don't know if a man being delusional, it increases the delusion. Like if he's been having delusional thoughts all his life, you know what I'm saying? And I wonder, does it increase the older he gets? Because I've noticed that a lot of these older men are very delusional. You can't think that just because you got money, or just because you're retired, you might have some money, you know what I'm saying? You might even own a baseball team, whatever. You might own a basketball team. I don't know. A lot of these older white people own these baseball teams and basketball teams and football teams. They be having a lot of money. So it's kind of delusional if you think that just because you got a lot of money that you could just get you a young woman. First of all, if you're not taking care of yourself like that, a real woman, she got standards. A real woman has standards and morals. And just because a man is rich and got money, if he's not your type, why are you with him? It makes no sense for you to be with someone that you're not attracted to. I'd be damned if I let another man try to control me, especially a man that I don't even want to be with. Now, if you go back to, what God wants us to do, God wants women to submit to men. But my thing is, I'm not submitting to a man that I'm not physically attracted to, a man that I don't want to be with, first of all. I don't want to deal with that shit. I'm good. I don't want to deal with that. To me, that's crazy. But, yeah, like I said, there's nothing worse than a delusional man. There's nothing worse than a delusional man, because men, they take it too far sometimes. Their delusion is, you wonder sometimes where they get these thoughts from. Like I said, I'm not talking down on people who might have maybe mental issues. This is not a bash at all. I'm not bashing people who have delusional thoughts. I'm just bringing awareness to it. And I'm trying to explain to people. I don't know if people can relate to me. I'm trying to just basically explain to people, like, look, sometimes you just got to use your brain. You just got to use that noggin, what God gave you. You just got to use that brain that God gave you. Now, it's a different thing if you were born with mental defects. Some people were born with mental defects. That's totally different. I'm talking about people who are born normal, who have a normal brain, who have a normal sized brain, but chooses not to use it. They choose to be ignorant, or they choose to believe these crazy ass thoughts. Sometimes I have thoughts too. Sometimes I start having, weird thoughts too. And I'm like, you know what? You gotta stop thinking like that. Sometimes I gotta stop myself from thinking certain things, because you gotta understand, like, if you meditate on those thoughts, they can surely come true. If you meditate on those thoughts, they can come true. Honestly, they can. And, I was gonna use myself as an example, but I'm not gonna use this example because it's too personal. But I will say, as a people, we just need to be very careful with the thoughts that we have. And I'm speaking to myself too. Like sometimes, guys, when I record these podcasts, and by the time you guys hear this podcast, you know, hopefully you guys have enjoyed the previous ones. But by the time I post this, hopefully you guys will understand me by now and you won't be offended by anything that I say. But what I'm trying to say is, sometimes when I record these podcasts, I'm not really directing it towards a specific individual or a specific individual. Sometimes I'm talking to myself. Sometimes I've had delusional thoughts and I had to, control those thoughts. Like, you know what? That's not true. You don't have proof. If you don't have concrete proof that this is what's happening, if you don't have some type of wisdom or discernment, actual discernment that this is actually happening or taking place, you're delusional. Like that example that Google gave you. Why would you think that the microwave is controlling your thoughts? You got to think like logically. How can a man-made machine that's made to warm food up, how could you possibly be reading somebody's mind or controlling somebody's mind through a microwave? I mean, I could see if he use an example like your phone, because sometimes your phone can control your thoughts. They can. Sometimes your phone can control your thoughts because your phone knows you. Your phone knows you better than you know yourself sometimes. And that's the weird part about technology. Now that is a proven fact. Like, that's proven that your phone understands you. Your phone knows you. Your phone knows what you like. Your phone knows what you don't like. And it's based off of, honestly, what I believe is based off of recent views or, reoccurring views on your phone, based off of what you look at on your phone, what you watch on your phone, what you look up on your phone. And it can even I honestly think it has something to do with your eyes too. The eyes is the window to the soul. So don't be surprised if the reason why sometimes your phone, the TV, can kind of pick up on the things that you like. Because like I said, the eyes are the window to your soul. Your eyes is an open gate to your soul. There's some people out here who are soulless, you know what I'm saying? There's some people out here who are cold-hearted. I don't want to be cold-hearted. I don't want to end up being cold-hearted. I know in my previous podcast I said I give up on love, and I still have that mindset. I kind of don't know what to do. I'm kind of like, on the fence about it. Like, I don't know if I should still believe in love, but sometimes I'm like, you know what, man, fuck it. Forget it. I'm not encouraging other people to give up on love, but for me, I don't know if I really want to, I don't really know if that's what I want to deal with at this moment, because I've had, situations where, like I said, I've tried to connect with people and it just doesn't work. I'm just maybe too awkward, or, stuff like that. I might be too awkward, but, I don't really know. But another way a person can be delusional, like I said, the main thing is having crazy thoughts, actually believing these thoughts. That's another way that a person can be delusional. You can be delusional if you have these preconceived thoughts about somebody that are just outlandish. Like, I've had people have outlandish thoughts about me, and I'm just like, that's not even me. That's not who I am as a person. And I know who I am as a woman. I know who I am as a person. So that's not even who I am. But anyway, I just hope that you guys take this podcast, into consideration. And, you guys let me know what your thoughts are on delusion. You got some females who are delusional too, but like I said, it's not, to me, when a female is delusional, it doesn't annoy me as much. It annoys me more when a man is delusional, because I feel like, you're the head of the household, if you got a girlfriend or a wife, or if maybe you're single, you're still, put on this earth to protect and provide. So my thing is, you shouldn't be delusional. You start having these delusional thoughts, it starts to affect your decisions as a man. And if you got a girlfriend or a wife and you expect her to submit to you, if you have delusional thoughts, how can you lead her? How can you lead her appropriately? How can you lead her appropriately? You gotta think about stuff like that. How can you lead your family or your girlfriend, or, how can you even lead yourself if you have these delusional thoughts? But going back to, men, like, it's just more annoying when a man is delusional because, like I said, he's the head of the household. He's the one who's supposed to be, first. He's the one who's supposed to make the decisions. And, of course, you can make decisions too with him, but you're supposed to follow his guidelines. So what I'm saying is, how do you do that if the man has crazy thoughts in his mind? If he's making decisions based off of crazy ass thoughts that he has in his mind, how is he able to make the right thoughts? How is he able to, I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing. How is he able to make the right decisions if he has these delusional thoughts? People, we just need to keep that in mind. We just need to keep that in mind that these delusional thoughts are just crazy, and we need to keep it in check. And I'm speaking for myself too. Like, we need to keep these thoughts in check and try to work on it. But until next time, guys, stay safe and be blessed. And, honestly, guys, I do appreciate you guys listening to me. And I hope, like I said, by the time I post these podcasts, you guys have gotten used to me and you understand me and where I'm coming from. You don't take offense to anything that I'm saying. Even the people that I'm referring to, I hope you don't take offense. It's just more of me letting out my emotions, sharing with people my thoughts, and being able to connect with people on a different level. Letting people know that, just because I'm an introvert, that doesn't mean that I don't have any sense, that I don't have any wisdom, that I can't relate to people. Yes, I might be an introvert, but I can relate to people. I honestly can. I can relate to people in different ways. And, a lot of people don't understand that. Some people might think I'm an alien, like I'm nothing from this world. And it's like, well, I might be. Technically, I might be. Because I'm so different. I'm so different from a lot of people. But just because I'm so different, that doesn't mean that I can't relate to some people. Just because I don't fit in to society, that doesn't necessarily mean I can't relate to people. I can relate to a lot of people. But I just prefer to be by myself. I prefer to stick to myself. Honestly, that's just how I move through life. That's how I've always moved through life. I mean, like I said, I've had, associates, in the past or whatever, but, you live and learn. So when you live and learn, you make better decisions. But all right, good night. You guys have a good night.